Hi, how's everybody doing? It's so nice to see you. Thank you for peeking in on me. Let's get down to it, shall we? All right. Danielle Smith, taken to gerrymandering, just like her very, very special friends in the Mar-a-Lago area, the lunatics next door. She really likes them and she admires them and she's emulating them with gerrymandering. Yeah. So we all agree that we have an influx of new people and our population has grown and we need to have a couple more seats at the legislature. We do. It's a real thing. But Danielle decided not to take the advice of the judges. And she had somebody write in little addendums, if you will, on these advice. So anyway, she's decided to create a board, the kind of board that politicians use when they want to get ahead of a mistake so they can blame the board. That's from her first speech. We can go back and check it. Go ahead, check it. It's November 2022. Anyway, that's what she says. So she's created this board, and it's going to be made up of 3 UPCs, 2 NDPs, and a third UPC who's going to act as chair. Why? How fair is that? She's gerrymandering. She's going to make it so, these people can be in the same riding as those people, and we have a better chance of winning if these people are over here. Yeah, she's really messing it up. I think that there should be 2 UPCs, 2 NDPs, and 2 completely independent people that have nothing to do with either party. And one UPC can pick them, and the other NDP can pick them, and then one of those would be chair. The independents, not a UPC, not an NDP. And then maybe we could come to some fair and balanced consensus for the electoral boundaries. But she doesn't want to work that way. She's taken her lessons from lunatic next door, playing her trump card, if you will. So, it's not going to be fair. It's not going to be balanced. And she's trying to rig it. That's what she's trying to do. She's trying to rig the election. She has no integrity. Neither does any of the UPC people. And I guess we'll see how it goes. It should be fair. And she should also cut the 13 cents gas tax that we pay provincially. Mr. Carney cut the federal one, and she needs to cut the provincial one. Oh, but I'm making so much money. Yeah, well, you're making so much money on barrels of oil too, lady. So cut the tax for us people that don't have to spend $200 filling up our tank. And if you got a big truck with a diesel, it's a hell of a lot more. Bet you your convoy anti-vaxxer friends would love it if you cut it, just even for them. I think they'd agree with me on that. Be the one thing that we do agree on. Okay, moving along. Pierre versus Mark Carney. Ass and class. Pierre said that Mark Carney had a very poorly educated. He got a bad education. That's what he said. Real live. On the air. So let's compare. Pierre got his degree in international relations. It's not a bad one, but it's a bachelor. And he started out in Calgary, University of Calgary, and he finished it off online with Athabasca University. Yeah, that's what he did, some 10 years later. Whereas Mark Carney has his PhDs from Harvard and Oxford with honors in economics. And then, of course, his resume from there on in speaks for itself. He's a banker, he's an economist, he knows his shit. And that's why he's Prime Minister today. And that's why he is so extremely well respected around the world. And that's why we are very damn lucky to have him right now, because he's the one standing up to the lunatic next door. He's the one that's putting Canada first and making things happen so that we have pipelines and we have infrastructure and we have satellite launch pads and we have ports on the northern coast, and we have fighter aircraft and we have submarines. He's the one that's doing that. He's the one that's making the jobs for all that stuff to happen. And also, he's also going to be the one who gets Canada on board with new technology. Yep. We have to compete. We have to start building electric cars. Has to be. Electric vehicles has to be. It's going to happen anyway. We might as well get on top of it, and so we won't be left behind. We've talked about this before. It's a thing. Get on board with it. What did Klaus Kellerman say? Once upon a time, there was Swiss watches were the best thing to have in the world. Everybody had one. They were expensive. They were handmade. They were craftsmanship. And then somebody in Japan made a digital watch. $15-20, and everybody had one. So that's what happened with that. Look at the horse and buggy and the Model T. We've done this already. We have to get on board with the new technology, and Mr. Carney's going to do that. He's going to help us get there. So kiddies, go to school. Get your tech. Get your tech, because that's where we're going. All right. Pierre lost his own seat in his own riding. We all know that. And he then did the dirty backroom deals. Not Mr. Carney. Conservatives did. Pierre decided he needed to have a seat. Of course he had to have a seat or he was going to lose his leadership, right? That's the way it works. Okay? Mr. Carney was Prime Minister at that time, and he agreed to have a by-election. Yes, go ahead. Have a by-election. He had nothing to worry about. Absolutely nothing. So, Mr. Carney had to find Mr. Polyev had to find the right riding that he would guarantee a seat at the table. But guess what? I don't know how he did it. What was it? Damien Kurek? He gave up his seat. And they had a by-election in the Camrose area. And of course he won. But what did Pierre Poilievre promise Mr. Kurek? Money? A big seat at the table? I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait for another election because Damien Kurek is not at the table. And so, since the election, Mr. Poilievre has not once been back to Camrose area. He got his shiny cowboy boots and he's got a little cowboy hat and he's playing cowboy with the cowboys. But he hasn't been back to talk to the cowboys, to the real cattlemen out there. Yeah. And we all know who they are. They're a little bit disgruntled from the before times with the, I don't know, Alberta Wheat Pool or something. I can't remember. But they're mad. And they're following Danielle and her separatists with her stellar crew of leadership there. Mm-hmm. The swindler, Mr. Modry, the former disgraced cardiac surgeon, Mr. Modry, who swindled millions from his own family, who trusted him because he was the good doctor in the family, so he can be the executor and all that stuff. Yeah, he swindled his own aunt and uncle for millions. And he still hasn't paid it back, and he's been convicted of it too. Lost his family over that one, and then there's that Wrath idiot. He's like deadbeat dad. Anyway, every one of them are a little bit shady and sketchy, if you will. All right. Okay. So, Then there was the leadership review for Pierre leadership, and he selected some conservatives from all across Canada to pay their way to come to Calgary for the leadership review. They had to pay $1,000 to go to this big meeting in Calgary. And then they talked about Pierre, and they did all his wonderful things. And he won his leadership with 80-some%. And he's so proud of that. He's so proud that he handpicked a bunch of people from across the country, made them fly to Calgary, and pay $1,000 to sit at the table and vote for him. That's what he did. Very proud of that. Very good for you, little wee man Pierre. In the meantime, the rest of the Conservatives across the entire country really don't see it that way. And while Pierre's at the head of the table for the Conservatives, Mr. Carney's going to be at the head of the table for the entire country. Because Pierre just doesn't have it. He'll never be Prime Minister. And if he he's just got to step down. When you lose your seat, you step down like a man. But these men are so emotional and irrational, you know. They do crazy things. You know how men are. That's what they say about women. I think that if women were running the show, except for, of course, Danielle, I think we'd all be in a much better place globally. But Pierre's own party is walking away. A lot of floor crossing. And that's how our parliamentary system works. We can do that. If we don't like, and our constituents don't like what's happening at the big table, they can change their minds because they need to work for the constituents, not for the good of wee man Pierre. Okay, so that's what we have. That's the facts. He didn't win the election. He didn't win the federal election. He didn't win his own seat in his own riding. He had to kind of backroom shady deal a by-election, and now his caucus, his Conservatives are walking away from him because they know they see a loser when they have one right before their eyes. So tell me what you think about all that. Good old Danielle. Oh yeah, she's going to change the Welcome to Alberta signs because she can't stand the wild rose country. Guess it gives her nightmares, shakes, and jitters. Wow, she was a wild rose, and then she crossed the floor herself. And now here we are, some years later, and we did it. We elected her. We were going to do it last time too, but we elected her. Here we are. Here we are, people. So who knows what's going to come overnight? What's going to happen in the Middle East? What's going to happen down south? What's going to happen here with craziness? Don't know. But let's talk about it in comments. What do you think? Tell me. Tell me where you're from. Tell me what you're talking about. Tell me what you're thinking about. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. So please subscribe, like, comment, and we'll continue. All right? So have a very good night, and we'll talk to you soon with who knows what is coming. Good night. Love ya. Bye-bye.